Welcome back to Azure Terraformer. Today is a special episode because today one of you, my audience members, decided to treat me to a cup of coffee. So I felt like I should show proof that I'm enjoying this coffee. So here I am in my favorite coffee shop in Beijing, and I have this lovely cappuccino on this lovely little dish. They even put a little, I don't know, heart or lotus leaf or something in the foam, which is very, very, very cool when people can do that. I don't know how to do that, but I see at the fancy coffee shops, they do that. It's very nice. But today, I do have this account with buymeacoffee.com. I don't solicit, and I don't ask you guys to go there. I just put it out there kind of covertly, just to see if anybody wanted to show me some love that way. I know we all live in this post-COVID world and everybody's all remote, so it's hard to sit down with people in real life, IRL, and have coffee, which is kind of sad. But so I thought, this isn't the first time, but it's the first time in a while somebody pulled the trigger and bought me a coffee. And glib sent me a nice little note. He said, "Thank you, Mark, for the videos. Please continue." A couple smiley faces in there. So just, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it. So I thought for these coffee episodes, maybe I would do something a little bit different. Maybe I'll just sit here, drink this coffee, and talk about a story or two from delivery, past projects. I don't know, whatever comes to my mind. Very nice, very nice. Thanks again. glib, appreciate it. I'm enjoying the coffee. I run on coffee. I've developed a caffeine habit pretty hardcore in my life as a developer, and not as bad as some. I remember working with a guy in Chicago, and this cat, holy cow, man! He wasn't a coffee guy, but the dude just pounded Red Bulls. It was insane. I'm sure you guys have met people that just pound Red Bulls. But this guy kept stacks of Red Bulls in his cubicles. And we're kind of worried about the man. The only other person that I know that really drank the Red Bull super hard, like this person, his name was Obaid. Great guy. Love Obaid. Would love to work with Obaid again. I worked with him in Chicago. But Obaid drank those Red Bulls, man, like there was no tomorrow. I mean, it was, you're like, are you okay, Obaid? Because you could tell when Obaid had his, maybe 8th Red Bull. But yeah, Red Bulls, a little scary. I used to do energy drinks. I used to do Monster drinks a lot. I drink Monster. I used to drink those energy drink / fruit punch things. And then I'd also have coffee, so I'd start the day with a cup of coffee, and then I'd have an energy drink, not a Red Bull, but one, I don't know if they're 12 ounce or 16 ounce can, but I'd have one Monster drink around 2:00. And then maybe if I knew I was going to work really late, which back in consulting days, that was almost every day, I might pick up a Red Bull at the shop, at the corporate office around 4:00 before they close, because I knew I need to drink one around 7:00 to be able to work till midnight or whatever. A combination of coffee and Monster drinks. Never was a huge fan of Red Bull like Obaid was, but I did that for many years, and then eventually I went to the zero sugar ones, trying to get healthy, uh, healthy, right? And then I just kind of cut them out altogether, or I kind of weaned myself off. I went down to the zero sugar ones, and then I went down to kind of the fizzy water. You know, it's not caffeinated, but it still gives you that kind of sweet, fizzy kind of vibe. But yeah, the spent a lot of years caffeinating in various ways, and that was my routine for a long time. I used to take sugar and milk with my coffee. But then again, I tried to get healthier, so I was like, you know what? And I also like whiskey, and I like bourbon. So I do have kind of a palate for more bitter flavors. So I was like, you know what? I could just like cut out the milk and the sugar and just drink black coffee. And so I transitioned to black coffee. And that I think that helps out a lot, you know, not having the sugar. Of course, I'm having a cappuccino today, 35 yuan for this cappuccino. But normally I just drink black coffee. I used to fly a lot, and on the airplanes, I had kind of the same routine. I didn't like to caffeinate on 6 a.m. flights, because 6 a.m. you don't have any food in your stomach. Dropping a bunch of coffee in my stomach, yeah, it'd wake me up, but dear God, it would it's like having a grinder in your gut. So when I would do 6 a.m. flights, I would basically just either not do anything, or I would drink hot water, like maybe on the flight. And then I would just try and sleep, you know, like maybe get an extra hour sleep when I would fly to Chicago or something like that. And if I had a connection, maybe I'd caffeinate after I had like a bowl of oatmeal or something at the lounge. But yeah, not big into early flight morning coffee. And definitely on the flights back home, which were typically at nighttime, not drinking coffee either. Usually going for the Baileys. Baileys on ice, man. You know, if I got upgraded to first class, I would just be like, give me a double of Baileys, and just throw it into a cup of ice. And then second round, maybe another double of Baileys. But Baileys is pretty good. United, which was my airline for the longest time, still is. I'm a million miler with United. But they, I don't know when I realized this, or when this started. I think it was after the Continental shift. But United started carrying, I think they used to carry Wild Turkey or something like that in first class. But they eventually went over to Buffalo Trace. And so after they started carrying Buffalo Trace, I would still drink Baileys on the flight, but while I was drinking my Baileys, I'd be like, next drink will be a double of Buffalo Trace. And hopefully they didn't unscrew the tops, because I'd just take those Buffalo Trace back home. and I'd try and stock my bar up, which is only slightly better or slightly higher class than stealing these single serving soaps and shampoos from the various Marriott hotels that I stayed at over the years. I would say, taking Buffalo Trace, like little shots of Buffalo Trace is not super cringe, but taking those little shampoo bottles is, that's, I did that for a long time until I realized, you know what, shampoo doesn't actually cost that much money. I'm a cheap bastard, what can I say? Interesting travel. These are just kind of little oddities, like when I went back when I was a big time traveler. So yeah, the only other person that I know that really crushed Red Bull besides Obaid was an old math professor of mine, Dr. Tong. Dr. Tong was one of my favorite teachers at Otterbein, and I think he just loved teaching, and I think he eventually, like, because he was such a great teacher, I think he got promoted. He got promoted to like department chair, and then I don't know this for sure, but and I feel odd talking about this, but because like I don't want to add to rumor mills or anything like that, but I met with him several times after graduation. Went back, always got to see Dr. Tong, and he didn't seem particularly happy in the department chair role, right? And you think, well, career path for a professor, head of a department, right? And I don't know what is that phrase? People get promoted to like the highest level of incompetence or something like that. And I'm not saying Dr. Tong was incompetent at it, but he's such a damn good teacher, And it's like sometimes I feel like we chase career path, we chase like the status of a title to our detriment, in that like maybe we're just awesome teachers, maybe we should just keep doing that and just keep being like the best damn professor, of math that we can be, and that doing what we derive passion and enjoyment out of in our life and fulfillment out of, rather than kind of chasing the paycheck, chasing the title, chasing the prestige, whatever it is. I'm not saying that Dr. Tong did that. I'm just saying it seemed like he didn't, and I think he told me he didn't. He kind of missed teaching. He did get to teach, but he didn't get to teach as many classes. So it's like it's kind of like one of those things in my own career. Like I saw other folks and myself as you rise in rank. As you're a developer, senior developer, team lead, tech lead, architect, systems engineer, whatever like the pecking order is, the totem pole, senior manager, director, senior director, whatever that ladder is, the higher you climb, the more and more in software development, the more and more time you're going to spend not hands-on keyboard. You're going to be in meetings. As an architect, I spent a lot of time talking to business, not coding, not designing, talking to business requirements, business analysts, which, they're great people. They're great people. But if you really like Dr. Tong, if you really derive your passion out of teaching, being in the classroom, if you really derive your fulfillment and your passion from banging out a bunch of code, sitting in a room with a bunch of business SMEs talking about requirement 10.3.4 and section 2.1, you might want to blow your brains out. It's so I don't know. And as I've gotten older, I think it's my priorities have shifted in a sense, in that I do want to spend more time doing things that I get fulfillment out of, as opposed to chasing a paycheck or chasing a title. I've never really been too focused on title or anything like that. When I first started my career, and I think there's inertia, like people want you to focus on title, so that you can always tell people that focus on title, right? So in some sense, it's almost like a game that you kind of get coerced into playing, the whole title game. And even if you're not really interested in titles, like you almost have to play the game, the title game, but I tried not to. In my career, I primarily tried to focus on building value, generating value. Whatever I was doing wasn't always successful, wasn't always optimally successful. But the focus. I guess my focus was always on value. So whatever that was, solving the problem at hand, maximizing, the leverage, of what impact I could make for that project, for that team, for that customer, whatever it was. And it wasn't about building headcount. It wasn't about, what title or credentials I could have with after a comma after my name or something like that, yeah. I don't know how I got started talking about Dr. Tong. Yeah. So back to Dr. Tong. So love that guy. Dr. Tong is the guy that is the only other guy besides Obeid that I know that totally jams Red Bulls. And this guy, I found this out later after graduation, because I went to Dr. Tong's office. I think he was a department chair at the time, and he had a little mini fridge in his office, and he offered me a drink. And he had Sprite and stuff in there too, but there was one Sprite and there was 8 Red Bulls. And I'm like, bro, Dr. Tong is stocked with the Red Bulls. And I'm like, Dr. Tong, why do you have so many Red Bulls in your fridge, man? And he's like, oh, Mark, I usually have 1 or 2 before class, and I'm like, 1 or 2 before class. And I'm like, no wonder you had mad energy, because that was one of the great things about Dr. Tong is he had so much insane energy and so much passion, and it kind of exuded his passion for mathematics. It was amazing, hearing somebody just so excited talking about multivariate calculus. It's like, wow, this man loves multivariable calculus, man. It's pretty amazing. This must be something I should learn. But yeah, Dr. Tong. Dr. Tong and his Red Bulls. And, whether we should stay focused on life fulfillment or titles and prestige. Yeah. Deep thoughts. Anyways, Mr. G-Lib, thank you so much for this coffee. It's pretty much tanked. Absolutely tanked. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I hope you all enjoyed hearing me yammer on about Red Bulls and caffeine and business travel and Dr. Tong. Dr. Tong. Miss that guy. Anyways, I think I'll probably just do this. I'll try and set aside some time. If you guys when one of you guys takes the time to buy me a coffee, send me something you want to hear about. Ask me a question, and as long as it's not about religion or politics, I'll answer it. So anything you want to know, you're buying the coffee, so I'm answering the questions. So I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Anyways, that's it for me. Until next time, this is the Azure Terraformer, signing off.